Where are you at the moment?
Right now I'm at home, actually.
And where's home?
Home is in Blacktown, Sydney.
In Sydney, right. Because you are an Australian band, but you're becoming quite international, aren't you?
Yeah, slowly but surely, man.
You're spending a lot of time over in Canada.
Yeah, that's right. We went there last year and we're about to go there again this May.
Yeah, just a few dates over there.
Yeah. Last time we only got to do the East Coast, and this time we get to do the East and West Coast. So, yeah, it'll be quite a long tour.
Yeah, you're actually touring for a whole month.
Yeah, it's going to be brutal.
And between Australia, New Zealand, Canada and Australia again, you're touring for 3 months.
Yeah, the schedule's pretty intense, but that's what we got to do in order to, keep our heads above the water.
Right. You obviously like doing your live shows, though, because you did over 200 shows last year.
Yeah, we've just been trying to, have a good work ethic and just play as much as we can wherever we can at the better shows and bigger shows. And, yeah, it's just all part of the strategy, I guess.
And you've just released the album Sinularity a few days ago on the 22nd.
That's right.
So what was the reason, you kept that quite secret up until a month before it was released? Why did you do that?
We just thought that it would be a better strategy, I guess, marketing-wise and putting it out there. A lot of people would think that's silly. A lot of people would think that you should be telling everyone as often as you can and as much as you can. But I think because it had been almost a year or over a year since we'd released our first album, people were already inkling and wondering, when's the second Northlane album going to come out. So the pot was already sort of stirring itself. And when we dropped a track called World Eater in the later part of last year, that's got the pot stirring even more because people thought, World Eater was going to be the new album, and we did it that way. But then we thought we'd keep the album title a secret and pretty much just use the element of surprise and element of mystery to our advantage. Because furthermore, a lot of bands have just sort of released the release date and a video clip and pre-orders for their album, but we just thought we would do something a bit different. And when people tend to do things a bit different, they tend to get noticed and stick out amongst the rest. So, yeah, that's probably the reason why we did it.
And you actually had fans one successfully did break the binary code on the website looking for clues and things as to what you were up to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there was binary codes and little hints and clues everywhere. And if you were dedicated or clever enough, you would have found out that we definitely had an album coming out in the upcoming month.
Sounds like you were having fun back there.
Yeah, man, it's cool. It makes it more interesting, and it makes the whole process a lot more fun and suspenseful rather than just another album cycle. No, it shouldn't be like that. It should be try and build it up and make it as cool and exciting as possible.
Well, as you said, you released World Eater last year in December, but that's not really an official single off the album, even though it is on the album.
Yeah, you're right. It was pretty much, it was a vinyl release, it wasn't really an official single, but I think that worked well because it acted as a bridge from our old material to our new material. And at the same time, it was I've seen the vinyls, we saw them ourselves, and they're a nice little memento to have if you're a Northlane fan. It's very well put together, and I was stoked when I saw them.
And you do have a lot of fans. You got 62,000 likes on Facebook.
Yeah, it's getting there. Hey, the more ambitious side of me, wishes that was 100,000, but baby steps, and I can't be, I don't want to be greedy. I want to be thankful for what we have. So yeah, honestly, I never would have imagined that we would get 60,000 fans. It's cool. I really dig it.
Well, I'm sure you've got more fans than that. It's just not all of them actually go and look you up on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. Facebook can be inaccurate sometimes, but for an inaccurate count, 60,000, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah. You have released the single Quantum Flux, and you've got a film clip for that, which is on YouTube at the moment. Was that filmed in Sydney?
No, that was actually filmed in Adelaide with a group called Unity Sound and Visual. All right.
Nice looking film clip.
Yes, Unity and Sound were great to work with. They had some very amazing and impressive equipment. Great team to work with, very friendly people, and the whole thing got shot in I believe 3 days. And yeah, it was just a really, smooth process, fun process as well. We'd only ever done one video clip in the past, and this one sort of had a bit more of a, more of a professional vibe about it. And yeah, it was just great. It was an awesome little experience.
I guess I should ask you, like, how long have you guys actually been together and how did you get together?
Well, I think we started in '09 and we started touring in 2010 January, and that's how old we are. Sorry, what was the second part of your question?
How did you all get together? Were you like at school together or?
That's right. Well, me and our bassist Alex, we'd been in a band or a couple bands before Northlane, and for one reason or another, we ended up parting ways, and he started his own project, which was Northlane. He was corresponding with our guitarist John over the internet. They had never really, hung out or met before, but they were both really into writing music on computer, and they were just sort of sharing their ideas and throwing it over the internet. And surely enough, they started writing songs together. And one day I was hanging out with Alex in his car, and he put it on the stereo, like some demo recordings they were doing. And I was like really impressed. I was like, dude, I need in on this, let me be in on this. Let me come to a practice. Let me see you guys play or something like that. I just wanted to be involved one way or another. And I believe at the time they needed a vocalist, and we had our old drummer there, who's Brendan Derby, was our original drummer, and Josh was already in the band at that point as well. They'd recruited him early on. While they were writing these songs, they were sort of piecing together the idea of practicing and forming a band. And by the time I came to a band practice, they were already practicing the songs. And yeah, I rocked up to one of their band practices, and there was a microphone on the ground, and my best buddy, Alex, he pointed to it and he's like, pick it up, man, give it your best shot. And, I'd already been doing vocals for maybe a year before that. So I was still new to the whole band thing as well. And yeah, I gave it my best shot. They liked what I had. And, here we are today talking on the phone about it on the interview 4 years later.
Yeah, and like you said, you only started gigging in January 2010, but when you released Discoveries in November 2011, everything just took off, didn't it? Yeah,
that's right. Well, especially being an independent metal band, it can be quite difficult to get known. It is quite an alternative style of music, and I believe, I'll be honest right now. I believe the production on our EP, Hollow Existence, did let us down a bit. I believe the music was beautifully written. I love the songs, but I think, we didn't have the budget to do, a really high quality production. So we were stuck to a budget, and we ended up recording with friends and things like that. And that did sort of let us down in the beginning stages. But I think what we also had to it in working in our favor was our live performance. People might not have necessarily, dug the production on the EP, but once they saw it translate live, I think that, it was a bit more appealing, like I said, sorry. And yeah, luckily enough, we pieced together some savings to find out our full-length album, Discoveries, and we tracked at Electric Sun Studios, which is actually like a 5-minute drive from my house in Blacktown here. And we worked with Shane and Dave there, and they were amazing people to work with. And yeah, we really ended up getting a really nice sound out of there, and an album that we were really, really proud of, still are very proud of. And sorry to drag this on, but pretty much we had no label interest even after we recorded this album. We'd spent all this money, and we were really worried about, this is our first full-length debut album. We want it to be the biggest thing that we can possibly make it out to be, not just sort of release it and then see it crash. So, we were approaching labels, and, we were getting knocked back quite a bit. But lucky enough, our friend Chris from House First Hurricane put us in touch with Luke Logerman from We Are Unified, which are a Melbourne-based label. Mm-hmm. And he came to a few of our shows, and I was very nervous. I really wanted them to pick us up because they have an impressive roster of bands, including the Amity Affliction and These Nuts and the Getaway Plan. And I just saw it as, our one opportunity, our one chance to, get somewhere. And to this day, I say it time and time again, I really love Luke, and I really thank Luke for believing in us and giving us the chance to be on their label, because once they signed us, they released the album for us. They pushed it so hard in every direction, and yeah, really helped make our first full-length release the biggest thing we could have hoped for, and really helped to launch our first step into the music industry professionally and respectably. And yeah, and it worked to really get the Northlane train running.
Well, that's great. I want to ask you about your songwriting, because your songs carry a message in them.
That's correct.
I must admit I didn't really hear your first album, but I've been reading some of your lyrics. And you've changed your style slightly in the style of the song, like Quantum Flux, it's more sort of, you've got the heavy, but you're doing more singing and that in it.
Yeah.
But I think maybe your songwriting, it seems to have become a little bit more personal.
Yeah.
Do you write the lyrics?
Yeah, I write the lyrics. The boys have their critique where appropriate, and if they want anything changed, I'm more than happy to suit the needs of my four brothers in the band. But yeah, generally I write most of the lyrics.
And what is it that you're trying, like with your messages and that, what is it that you want to get out there in your lyrics?
There's a lot of themes running throughout our music. I guess the overall message is, probably a sense of truth. I think there is a lot of misinformation in the world, especially in the media and in television. And, what we see isn't always what is actually happening. Some of our songs are very politically charged. Some of our songs are very religious or spiritually charged. And I just really, me personally, and I know the other boys in the band have really, woken up, as they say, to, a lot of the atrocities and, lies that are happening in the world today. And as negative as some of them might be, I think it's, very important that we know what's happening on our planet and in our countries and in our politics. And so we can make the right and informed choices and decisions about, maybe who you vote for, or maybe, what products you buy, what type of philosophy or religion you support or way of life or worldview. It's very important, and it's very important for the individual as well. But more these days, especially on Singularity, it's become more and more about the truth. I really want to get out there is how beautiful life is and how wonderful life is, and although there might be all these negative things about the world, we really need to focus on the better side of life. And just the fact that we are alive in general is one of the biggest, for lack of a better word, blessings that we have in our life. And yeah, I think there is a very, very huge sense of happiness and joy and emotion that can come from just recognizing how lucky we are. I always have to go and make the point, I'm sorry if there's anyone out there, that might not be as so lucky as someone like ourselves who, do have a house and do have food in our stomachs. And I'm sorry if I offend anyone during this interview. If you might have a quality of life that you're not happy with. I hope one day you can find change and, peace of mind in your life, whether that's, changing something within you or changing something outside of you. I wish you all the best in your change. But for me personally, anyway, these days I've really become content with how life is, including all the bad stuff in the world, including all of that and encompassing it. I just can't help but see a sense of perfection in evolution and the universe. And I really think that's embodied through the human being. We really represent, the culmination of 14 billion years of cosmic evolution. And without rambling too on, I wanted to recognize the truth of the beauty and the happiness that is central to being a human being. And, I think with all the negative stuff out there, it's very easy to forget and look over how lucky we all really are.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's enough negative energy in the world and it's time to put out some positive energy.
Damn right.
Best way to make positive change.
Definitely.
Well, you're actually from Sydney, but you're doing your first and your last shows in Melbourne.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we're playing a Destroy All Lines club called Plastic, and I think we are headlining the show, and it's sort of a little bit of a showcase of our new songs that we've released on our new album. But, at the same time, we are taking a bit of break after these shows because we do need to work because we are going to Canada. And I don't know about the rest of the guys, but personally, I'm broke as hell and need to make a bit of cash to fund our trip overseas.
Yeah, and you've got a few shows over in New Zealand and then the Live It Up Festival in Brisbane on the 13th of April.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we do have weekenders. We have the New Zealand shows. We really try and do these things around weekends if we can, just so, like I said, doesn't conflict with work and things like that we just need to get done. But yeah, Live It Up Fest and New Zealand as well. I'm very looking forward heaps to. And
then in May you'll be in Canada, and 30th you're back in Brisbane at the Tempo.
That's right. 2 back-to-back tours, and it'll be rigorous and intense. But I love challenges, and I love touring and traveling anyway. So I'm really excited to not only go outside of the country but tour Australia.
Yeah, and then you're doing Sydney and Perth and Adelaide, and then your final 2 shows are at the Corner Hotel in Melbourne on the 9th and 10th of June.
Yeah, that's right.
And finally, I've heard you refer to yourself as a metal band, but some people call you hardcore. Which do you prefer?
New metal, just metal and hardcore. You can use both. I like saying we're a metal hardcore band, but it's not really traditional. It's more of a new age metal hardcore style. So maybe that's the proper terminology. I don't know.
Okay, it has been great talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kat.
Bye.
Bye.